institution, yeah, that impacts that, because you still have to have, you know, somebody who does this job, and you have to have somebody who does this job.
I guess I'm asking because one of the things that I decided to run for was the fact that you have 60% of all enrolled students in college or university are all female. And that's great, that's wonderful, but there's a lot of men that are going to get left behind, and these are future fathers, future.
Absolutely.
I mean, so it's kind of a problem that we have to address. And I can tell you, as a boy that went to school and as a man that went to school, it kind of feels like the system's rigged against you just a little bit. You know, I think it's easier for girls. You know, I think boys learn differently. So going forward, I think the board should address that issue if we can.
Well, and I think definitely by looking at, you know, the success and the numbers, there's no question. I think you are like 60%, and that's pretty true for across the state. Mm-hmm. And I agree with you. I think that, and it's one of the things I've talked with a number of you about, that California has not done a great job with career and technical education. And that's not vocab. Yeah, and so, but that is changing, and that's where a lot of money is available right now. And so, yeah, and I've been kind of doing my homework and talking to people. You've got some outstanding programs here, really outstanding. I'd like to be able to go on a tour and take a look. And so those programs have to be connected with business and industry. I mean, if we could do apprenticeships, there's all kinds of. So what you say is this is an issue. This is something that, you know, we really feel needs to be addressed, because guess what? We're talking about increasing our enrollment, but then you have to delegate to me and to the personnel, you know, the responsibility for doing that and for figuring out how to do it. You can, you know, you have opinions, we have knowledge. Those things can be shared, you know, with me. But it's setting that tone. You know, we want to make a difference in the lives of men.
If I may.
It's important. As a male?
Across the board. As someone who's been here as long as I have been, I know how many great programs are here. But I know that it's also not as easy as maybe a lot of people might hope to discover those programs, especially if you aren't already a student.
Career pathways, yes.
Which, if you're not already a student. And it might come to add to the fact that maybe students aren't, or people aren't becoming students because of that. But I think that with our student success program, that might be changing a little bit for the better. I don't want to digress too far, of course. So.
Well, I think what you're talking about are what are the roadblocks? What are the roadblocks for, you know, male students, but for students in general?
Yes.
And I think, you know, you look at the catalogs and how accessible they are, and how accessible things online are. I mean, we're talking about exactly. Yeah. Students use their phones to do everything, and how easily can you do that?
You should share the comment about why NEAC is involved in partnership.
Well, yeah, and you know, we had this new Stanislaus Works for Opportunity Stanislaus. You know, they chose to partner with the County Office of Education, primarily because they wanted to seek a new partnership with some different innovation, and they felt that you know, MJC was not leading that in that area. We didn't have a good reputation in that area, so that's a loss for us as an institution.
So they wanted somebody who could respond quickly.
Yep.
Or,
A smaller, more leadership.
but we can have, I mean, there are colleges in California. Yeah.
No, I don't think
So
it should be that.
So let's get back to this idea of accreditation here. So how much does the accreditation commission look at the specific area that we're talking about? Because I think it's very important, and I'm glad we're going over it, but how much weight do they put on it when they're looking at the overall accreditation?
Oh my goodness, this is like the heart of the beast. I mean, it really is.
Okay.
I can tell you that
I know it was one of the issues why San Francisco Community College lost, went through their accreditation.
Well,
Part of it was.
Can I just tell you something?
Yeah.
I think it's really important. Welcome. When I came to California in 2001, I mean, one of the things that happens when you come new to a place is either you get totally overwhelmed or you try to figure out, how things fit. And I remember the chancellor of City College of San Francisco, and he was talking about some of the issues there. They did things right. They paid their adjunct faculty exactly what I know, but guess what?
You overspend.
So the board got in trouble because they were not paying attention to what was going on fiscally. The other thing that they did right was they have a very robust non-credit program so that students that need preparation for college level work aren't using their financial aid. Problem is they were hiring regular faculty, great faculty to teach those, paying them the same rate, but we only get 60% of the funding for non-credit. Now we get 75% if you're preparing students, but it's still less.
Right.
And so, for doing the right things, they, pardon?
Sorry, I was just trying to understand. Okay.
Yeah. So that was the situation. Now, Compton had board members that absolutely, they just did whatever they want. I mean, they went so far as to require cars and things that were totally illegal. And they had a CEO that didn't stand up to them. And, but
So you're really putting the weight behind 3.1.
for you,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, but it's also as far as the accreditation commission, how they look at it.
Yeah. And
It's very critical.
it is.
Because I'm looking at the fiscal management language, the bottom paragraph. Basically avoiding fiscal or policy commitments that could jeopardize institutional effectiveness, integrity, or stability.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think, it can happen very quickly if you lose sight of the ball. And that's part of why I want to get a handle on, not only planning within the current timeline, which is your fiscal year, but we need to be planning for 3-year, 5-year, 10-year time horizon.
Absolutely.
With everything that we do.
And recognizing, of course, that mid-year, they can change the budget on you.
They can.
But it doesn't mean you don't do the planning. I agree
Right.
with you. I mean, the two things that, as I read through this, I thought, boy, this is, institutional effectiveness. We need to look at what are the enrollment management plans? Because that is all about, not only getting students here, what are the barriers to getting students here? What are the populations that are, really being impacted? What are the things we're doing to support the students when they're here? How clear are the pathways so that people know what they have to do? I mean, they should be able to look and see, 2-year, here's your 2-year plan. And with what do they call it, AAT degrees? There's AAT and AST, yeah.
Yes.
Those, I think, have really taken us to that place where we have exactly what you need to take in those 2 years. And the what degree?
Tax credit guarantees.
Oh, I missed that acronym. What is that?
Transfer acceptance guarantees.
Oh, yes.
Those are also great.
Yeah, because one of the things I just heard, we put together these AATs and the ASTs with the CSUs, and now I'm hearing that the CSUs are not accepting some of them.
True.
That's what I just heard. I'm going to look into that.
So agreement's good as
Well-
long as we want it to be.
Well, I hope it was a rumor. I hope it's not true. But the other thing is to address your question, fiscal integrity. I think that, what's her name, Teresa does a 1/2 hour intro to funding that's really good. I've asked her to do it for me already. And it really kind of lays out how we're funded in California, which is and then there is February 15th, that's when she'll have the budget, the governor's budget, and then we'll also have our enrollment figures, so we can really look at what we're, because we have been losing enrollment,
Right.
and we have been, I mean, and know often CDOs refer to it as borrowing. You know, we move our summer school around. I don't view it that way. I view it as what we have to do in California to maintain our, fiscal stability while we are doing those things that are going to build our enrollment. Because if you are constantly, when your funding is, when you're growing, everything's fine, you start losing enrollment and you cut things.
Yep.
If you don't do it strategically, like we were talking about, you kill yourself. I mean, I remember people that cut summer school, and it took them 5 years to get their summer school population back, or they cut, programs that were really viable programs.
How much of our loss of enrollment has to do is correlated to the economy?
People always say that. We can't
There's
do anything about the economy.
Right.
I can tell you that there are colleges growing. Reedley College, which is a small, fairly small rural college, there's some things that they are doing that is bringing new population.
Or is it maybe just discouragement about spending the money and then maybe not being able to have, I'm just trying to see
Here's
what's.
a
You know-
generalization. Whenever this is a generalization, but whenever the economy is bad, our enrollment goes up.
Really?
Because people want to
It's a
train for a
generalization.
job,
Okay.
they need, if I get better training, I'll keep my job. And when the economy is really good, they don't need more training.
I
they
kind
have the
of
job.
view-
See, and
I
I totally understand that because I found JC to be relatively inexpensive when you compare it to like a university. Yeah, it costs more to go to Central Catholic High School, $10,000 a year.
Right, and we have the board, what is it called?
BOG.
The BOG waiver but here's the thing. It's kind of like, we can't do anything about that. The economy's gonna rise and fall. I've seen colleges that, that when the economy's good, they maintain their enrollment. When the economy's bad, they maintain their enrollment. We have to look at those things we can do something about.
Well-
It's almost like an excuse to me, I don't like it.
When they talk about reports that we can ask for, can we ask for something like, what exactly is our relationship with all the high schools in our area? What are we
Absolutely.
doing? What are we
What's our
doing?
outreach to the high school?
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
because that's one of the things that maintains enrollment.
And you know what? There's a lot of these reports, because I think one of the things we have to keep in mind is you want people focused on student success. And if we're, not